question is what is God doing? When we think about the world today, it's a crazy place. Your spiritual life, your own life, your family life. I love to get out. I love to go to places. I love to see art. And one of my favorite places to go is a place called Lewis Jewelers here in Moore, Oklahoma. My friend Glenn Lewis, mayor of Moore, owns it, and he is a phenomenal artist with diamonds. This is Robin's latest wedding ring. This is her third one, and so he is phenomenal at taking something that is rough, that is dirty, that is gross, and turning it into a great piece of art. The year was 1869, and a gentleman was on a tour, and he had a tour guide, and they were along the Tigris River, and the tour guide continued to tell him story after story after story as they continued to be on their camels along this river. One of the stories was about a gentleman by the name of Ali. And Ali had lived in that area for really decades with his wife, his kids. He had a farm, he worked hard, he had a camel, he did the work, he tilled, he made it go. And he was very content until one day somebody told him something about diamonds and said, if you can get a hold of these diamonds, if you can find the diamonds, all of a sudden, if you have a few of them, you'll be wealthy enough to buy a farm. If you have a ton of them, you can have thrones for your children. And so this gentleman became discontent, and every night he would stay up, and Ali would continue to dream and daydream and night dream about how he could find the diamonds. And so one day he did the crazy thing. He went to his wife, he went to his kids, he gave them a hug, he gave them a kiss, said goodbye. He took the wealth that he had amassed and started traveling from country to country to try to find the diamonds. Country number 1, no. Country number 2, no. Number 3, no. Number 4, no. Number 5, no. Finally, he went to Spain, and he was so depressed, he was so dark, he was so down, like many of you get sometimes, that we all go through those seasons where we think we're chasing God and we want something great to happen, but for some reason it's not happening, and we don't know why. And so he got dark, he got depressed, he decided to take his life. And so he walked towards the sea, and a huge wave was coming in, and he walked straight into that wave, and Ali was never seen again. Back at the farm where his family lived, a priest stopped by to see the next owner one day. And the next owner had something sitting on a shelf that looked like just a dirty rock. But the way the sun hit it, the priest all of a sudden said, "What is that?" And this guy said, "Oh, it's just something I found down in the river. I was down there and I was digging one day, and I moved away the white sand, and I found this rock, and I just thought it'd be pretty on my mantle." He said, "You have no idea what you have. That's the diamond." He said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And the priest said, "Follow me." And they went down to this place in the river with this sand, and they started to dig out this sand, and they continued to take out these really dirty rocks. But what they had found was what ended up being the world's largest diamond mine that created billionaires for centuries to come. And all along, Ali had the wealth, he had the dream, he had the provision, he had everything that he wanted right at his feet. But because he got discontent and he bounced too soon, he missed what God wanted to give him. One of the things that I'm learning as I'm reading a book, and I've read that story, this author talks about many times we need to learn how to stay. And stay doesn't mean that we stay in the house or that we stay, but it talks about staying in the marriage, staying in the job, staying in the friendship, staying in the faith, staying in, and that we have to understand that God has surrounded us with the diamonds. God has surrounded us with every spiritual blessing, it says in Ephesians 1:3. But to find those things, we have to take the time to dig sometimes. We have to take the time to open our eyes sometimes. That Abraham, when he had taken his son Isaac to be sacrificed, that right before he sacrificed his son, God said, "Look up." And there was a ram in the thickets. And so if he hadn't looked up at a place that was kind of weird, he would have missed the provision of God. It's been a dark time. It's been a stressful time. But I want to encourage you that God has you in a place where he can do great things in your life. And I want to encourage you that when you take the time and you dig a little bit, you can find the diamonds. And then after you find the diamonds, you have to do what Glenn does at Lewis Jewelers, and you have to take the time to clean off the dirt. You have to take the time to power wash, to heat them up, to do all the things, to shape them, mold them, to cut them, to create the art they're meant to be. So in your life and my life today, I want to encourage you that God has some great things in store for you. That in Ephesians 3:20 life, that God can do anything, far more than you could ever imagine, guess, or request in your wildest dreams. And he has a diamond field all around you. But the way you find that field isn't to run off to the next thing. It's to return to your calling, and it's to return to where you've been planted, and it's to dig, and it's to clean, and it's to begin to cut those pieces and allow God to create art out of something that looks like just another piece of stone. So I want to encourage you today that no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, God has great things for you. So take the time, answer these questions. What should I be digging for? What are the blessings that God has surrounded me with right now that I'm ignoring? What are the things? And write those things down. Talk about areas in your life that you might be a little bit rough and that you need to allow God to power wash. That you need to allow God to wash those things off and to cleanse those things so that you can see the beauty in the art and the diamond of those things versus the grossness of those things. So what do you need to dig for? What do you need to wash off? And the last question I want you to ask today is, what is the great wealth that God's already given you? He's blessed us with every spiritual blessing. And many times to get our attitudes right, instead of going to country to country to country or job to job or wife to wife, we need to make a list of the things that God's already blessed us with and say, thank you, God, for allowing us to prosper with these things. So make a list of the wealth that God's already given you today and the things that he's already blessed you with. I hope you have a great day. We're going to change the schedule a little bit this week, so we're going to start doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then a little bit longer one on Sunday for you to have on Sundays as we continue to walk through this church thing we're all going through. And so I will see you latest Wednesday. Might get bored and do one tomorrow, you never know. But God bless you, and I'll see you Wednesday for sure.